everyone, and welcome to another edition of Under the Macroscope, Skybound Capital's podcast series. And wonderful to welcome back to the podcast Skybound Capital's Chief Investment Officer, Theodore Shou. Theo, we are going to expand on a topic that we addressed in a fairly recent podcast, or at least part of the topic, and it is a hot topic globally. It is that of AI, or artificial intelligence, and its influence on various aspects of our lives, including research and even some children choosing it to do schoolwork on their behalf. It has many applications, as we've seen, and it has been something that has been widely applied and widely used. But we're seeing some interesting trends on ChatGPT. So I'm going to start there, Theo. It looks as though usage has, in a sense, really leveled off, and in some areas started to drop off already. And I'm interested to know what that means in your eyes, and whether this means that interest in artificial intelligence and its application as a whole is already in decline.
Thank you, Matt, for having me back again. I think, in my view, the leveling off of usage of ChatGPT is really only indicative of the retail use or the public use of a tool, which is not representative of the entire artificial intelligence. Similarly, when we talk about the interest in AI, again, the decline of usage in ChatGPT probably only represents the decline of usage of a particular tool. I think as a human being myself, I'm always going to be excited about artificial intelligence and how it is going to impact human beings as a group in our next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And let me remind our audience that artificial intelligence is nothing new. It's not a novel idea. It doesn't come to the world because of ChatGPT. Again, as we talked about it, ChatGPT is only one application or one silo of AI. But mankind, have been working on artificial intelligence in the past decades, and we are highly convinced that they are going to continue their efforts in the many decades to come as well. And as I said, that will change our lives.
So in your opinion, and I know you've researched this topic extensively, where has and where does AI continue to make a positive impact, whether it be in the investment world specifically or in other sectors of the economy?
I think, in summary, AI has improved productivity. By that, I mean you are spending less time on preparing a presentation, writing your PPT. That is the productivity improvement that AI can bring. Of course, productivity is not just at the individual workers level. We are talking about the entire society. In the grand scheme, AI, of course, have already affected us all, improved our productivity, and it will going to do so more and more. That impact is going to be multiplied. So the pace of that influence is going to be much faster going forward compared to the past decades. But more specifically, we are seeing opportunities across both public markets and private markets. I'm sure a lot of our audience probably have been trading specific companies that are performing particularly well in the recent quarters. But back to our thesis that AI has always been there, and we believe AI will be more influential going forward. We see opportunities related to AI across different sectors, across public and private. So let me give you some examples. So in the public market, of course, you have the very large internet giants who we can regard them as the AI powerhouses. They were the AI powerhouses in the past. They will continue to be the AI powerhouses. When I say AI powerhouses, I mean on one hand, they could be investing into the basic infrastructure of artificial intelligence. On the other hand, they could also be engaged in developing future applications of specific AI technology, etc. And those, as many of you probably know, they are not in large number, only a handful of them globally in the world, right? So those are the very large giants. But then the best performing ones in terms of share prices this year so far has been some of the tool providers. They're not the powerhouses. They are not the all-in-one. They can't do everything, but they provide certain critical components that will be used in AI technology development. So some of those could be GPU cards, for example. We are not going to name the specific companies, but I'm sure you know that some of the companies are almost close to the monopoly status in the world when it comes to specific tools that will be used in AI. And the third, but not necessarily the least, group of public companies that are different players along the value chain of AI. For example, I talked about infrastructure. So more specifically, they could be data providers, data centers, or companies who tag the data. For those who have some basic knowledge of generative AI, you know that every piece of picture that you see that is being used in a model of AI needs to be tagged and labeled and properly grouped before they can be actually used in training of AI. So the tagging, the data themselves is an important part of the AI ecosystem. And then you have the basic hardware infrastructure, for example, optical modules, etc., that are not necessarily as sexy as GPU cards, but they're as important though.
So let's take this a step further as well. So everything you've described there has been specifically around the technology behind AI itself. I had a fascinating discussion with a South African-based investor who invests globally. They like the concept of AI. They like the influence that it can have across various sectors. However, their investment mandate is not into the technology itself, but into companies that are successfully applying that technology and thereby making their sector more efficient. Would you concur with that as a strategic approach?
Absolutely. I count those companies as being within the AI ecosystem as well. Or if we expand the notion of AI, I can easily group them as AI companies or AI technology companies. So many of them, or our audience probably are familiar with the term SaaS, which at one point was very popular too, right? Software as a service. Basically, similar to the paid TV or the direct TV in SA, that you pay a monthly subscription. In the business world, you have many companies that do the same. The business users pay a monthly subscription. Without many people realizing, some of the SaaS companies have been heavily using AI technology. And that directly circles back to your point, companies that actually make use of AI tech to improve their own products and services, their own offerings that can help their users to be more efficient in their day-to-day work or life. And again, I use SaaS as a small group of examples, but that can be applied to any other vertical industry or sectoral kind of usage and application. And I talked about tagging of data. Very often, you can see some of the tagged data are being widely used in one aspect that many of us are being exposed to on a daily basis, facial recognition. So when you are walking on the street, all the CCTVs along the streets, or when you are going through the security gates in the airport or anywhere else, basically your faces have already been tagged in the past. And those tagged images are now being used to compare to your live image to recognize whether you're still met and to see whether you need to be locked down, right, or contained. So those are the uses of AI technology. And that's why I'm saying that that has been in use for many, many years. And many small companies and large companies have developed tools, applications, usage of a specific sector of AI technology and put them into improving or perfecting their existing products and offerings.
Theo, before we finish, I want to ask you something slightly more philosophical. It may be a personal view. You mentioned earlier in the podcast the ability of this technology to create greater efficiency in the workplace, and we can cite many examples. For example, the drafting of a legal document. You can save an enormous amount of time. I have no doubt that in researching a specific company for investment purposes, you may be able to create efficiency. But philosophically, at the end of it all, the work that you put forward, whether you've used AI or not, has to be seen as your work. So there is still an onus upon you in the workplace to double check or make sure that what is going out, you are happy to go out under your name.
Absolutely. I think the key is that human beings should still be in control. And that will at least be the case for many, many years to come that I can envisage. Ultimately, the AI technology today, although we've been talking about machine learning and all these fancy words of AI, they are so far still being developed, evolved by human beings. They are being managed in the great framework of human beings. In addition, some of the governments are already launching particular legislative ideas around the future control of AI technology. So China has been leading the way, and we have seen the White House have also called some of those AI powerhouses together to sign a manifesto of some sort. I'm very positive that we are going to see the development of AI technology, as well as the efforts of making them into better use or governance around AI technology will proceed hand in hand. They are not going to be an unleashed technology out there without anyone's supervision. That is not going to be the case for AI, I believe.
Yeah, well, one thing is for certain, that the technology will continue to develop at a pace where we could probably do a podcast a month. But it's a very important sector to keep a close eye on, not only from how the technology affects our daily lives, both at work and at leisure, but also in how it has the ability to impact some of the investment decisions that we make. So, Theo, thank you for that update, for those insights, and we look forward to another catch-up on this topic very soon, where no doubt things will have changed. So thanks again, Theo, for all of that input. Don't forget that you can download all episodes of Under the Macroscope, Skybound Capital's podcast series, on the Apple iStore and also on the Android Play Store on Google, and all past editions of Under the Macroscope are available at Skybound Capital's website on www.skyboundcapital.com. Until next time on Under the Macroscope, have a good week.